Laura Ingraham is coping with the turnout of the No Kings protests. Organizers are saying that 7 million people participated nationwide. The lower estimates say 5 million people participated nationwide, 2,500 different demonstrations. Either way, we're looking at massive, massive numbers and a show of opposition to the Trump administration. And we have our thoughts about some of like the No Kings framing, right? How do you take that a step further? It's not just about authoritarianism in a silo, right? And that's kind of how the Democrats have tried to attack Trump in that way. His authoritarianism is built on the concentration of wealth and power at the very top. It's oligarchy, and that's the fascism piece of it. It's not just authoritarian, right? Democrats like to use that. Well, they'll call a left-wing leader an authoritarian, a right-wing one. So it's like we're the cozy liberal center that will respect the elections on election day, but not necessarily do anything meaningful to curb the power of the wealthy.
It almost becomes like a libertarian argument against government, like it did with Nixon, which is that we let this guy get too powerful with government power. Now we need to restrain the government, as opposed to looking into the different things like, oh, well, maybe the military industrial complex has something to do with Vietnam being extended and that sort of thing.
Or like the idea that China's central state planning is a bad thing and authoritarian, where it's like they've actually lapped us technologically and are beating us even in the climate change realm. So it's a very broad scope to bring in a lot of people, but it was an older audience for that reason, right? Because I think it builds on kind of Cold War framing about the world, as opposed to where you saw younger folks with the pro-Palestine movement, the anti-genocide demonstrations, where it's like an active anti-imperialist, anti-war challenging of our ruling class method. With all of that said, this is something significant to build on, and energy that's important, in part because it shows other people who may be getting a little queasy about grocery prices or may see ICE in their communities targeting their neighbors. It makes it so that there's more oxygen for them to speak out against the administration. And you can tell it's a threat to them, one, because Trump posted a disgusting AI video of his explosive diarrhea all over the protests from a fighter jet. And also the way that Laura Ingraham fake laughs at the beginning of this. I give you Laura Ingraham on with a supposed journalist here who has the inside scoop on how the unions and the leftists are recruiting.
The journalist talking has a history of working with PragerU.
And by journalist, I should have put air quotes around it, yes.
Yeah, independent, meaning he's taking money from a billionaire-funded nonprofit.
Yeah, so independent.
I mean, Anthony, I'm sorry, but I got more laughs out of this video. I mean, there was a lot of disturbing things in these protests, but most of it just seems like the theater of the absurd. It's early Halloween. It's a bad high school theater production. They have wardrobe departments. You know, you're the frog. You're the baby Trump. You're going to have the Trump piñata. But it all seems very repetitive. It's the same people at the protests every single time. Am I reading that wrong, or does this seem very performative?
Same 5 million people.
No, I think you're right. I've seen a lot of I've been covering the LA protests, going back all the way to the George Floyd protests and riots that happened out here. And I've been seeing a lot of the same usual suspects. It's usually the Democratic Socialists of America, the Party of Socialism and Liberation. Mm-hmm. And even this Saturday, I witnessed SEIU, which I believe they're the largest union in the nation, if not the second largest. They had tents out there, and they were recruiting people to the Party of Socialism and Liberation and the Democratic Socialists of America. So I posted that on my socials, that they were recruiting the youth, some of these new people coming out and wanting to quote unquote resist fascism.
Now, I'll just say, I think some maybe SIU members might direct people towards DSA or whatever. I don't think that's coming from the actual union, that our job is to get people to sign up for DSA. That would be news to me. I don't take this guy's word for it.
No, it probably was unions showing like solidarity with other working class people and maybe recruiting folks to try to get them to unionize and join their union. But they're working overtime to draw some sort of connection here between DSA, PSL, and SEIU.
Trying to get people to join PSL. I'll say I don't think it's happening.
Maybe they just said somebody had a purple shirt on.
You're right.
Or it was an SAIU member who happens to be a member of one of those groups. But
but what I like this clip is the idea that they're seeing unions make these efforts to join, that is a part of the anti-Trump movement. That's very threatening to them.
Yeah.
They hung, and the Hawleys and all of that, they hung their hat on the Teamsters support because what's that guy's name? The
Sean O'Brien.
Sean O'Brien, made a political calculation, and there are many. It's a whiter union that is more supportive traditionally of Republicans than others, and so that
they were goons for Nixon.
Yes,
the Teamsters were. I mean, and gotten better since. Which isn't to say there's not a large amount of Teamsters that aren't upset with Sean O'Brien's tact here. It's
just that that was really their only example of this. And as we get, you see the polling on union membership, it's got unions and labor rights have increased in popularity over the past 10 years. So this does present a threat to them. And I found it funny that this was the big expose that he had for Laura.
My socials, that they were recruiting the youth. Some of these new people coming out and wanting to quote unquote resist fascism, saying that only socialism can defeat fascism. So I'm kind of interested to see what some of the union members of SEIU have to feel about the fact that their union new money is being used to recruit the youth and some of these protesters into socialist parties.
Far left. SEIU is a complete disaster, but they're playing on the affordability issue that Mamdani is glommed onto, and they think that's going to sweep Republicans out of office next year. So cost of living is a real problem for young people. But Nick, when I was watching the videos, and I wasn't there, but
I like that little recognition, right? Yeah. They're a little worried about that.
Yes.
They're a little worried about that. Yeah, unions, joining a union helps improve the cost of living, gives you more bargaining power with your boss. Socialism is the only thing that can adequately defeat fascism, and that's part of why you're seeing liberals throughout the Democratic Party completely be rendered inept by this moment.
Here's a quote from a socialist. I've come to the conclusion that it is futile to be, quote, anti-fascist while attempting to preserve capitalism. Fascism, after all, is only a development of capitalism, and the mildest democracy, so-called, is liable to turn into fascism when the pinch comes. That's from George Orwell.
Right, and who they like to cite all the time. And
have you read 1984?
Yeah,
the novel. Have you ever read the children's book by the political columnist?
Yeah, 1984, right? Like that's when Dave Chappelle couldn't make fun of trans people anymore. Right. Attacking our free speech. Not this.
So Orwellian.
Yeah, not like, Palantir signing a contract with ICE to help surveil everybody, or them ramping up things like iris recognition at demonstrations. That's not 1984. It's when you get a little bit of cultural pushback to being a bigot or a rapist.
When the party tells you that we're all of a sudden at war with Canada now because of fentanyl.
Yeah.
And you just take that at face value, sure.
And I do think the more that they triple down on this, the millions that attended these marches know that they are not Antifa. They know that they are not
paid by Soros.
They know that they are not Hamas. And then let's add their friends and family to this. Some of them, maybe too far gone, but those are the Trump people already. But they're going to know that their friend, their cousin, their mom or whatever who went to No Kings isn't Hamas, for example.
Yeah.
So the problem with only speaking to your base, which the Trump administration basically has done this entire time that they've gotten into power, is that it has the potential to create a major credibility problem for them with the rest of the country, especially as the economy is falling apart. And the more credibility problems that we can create for them, the better. The problem for us is that the authoritarianism has ramped up to such a degree that they're banking on not having that credibility anymore and trying to subvert democracy in other ways. Full disclosure says it should be noted that multiple billionaires provided funding for the No Kings March over the weekend, including Walmart heiress Christy Walton. Home of the Brave, an organization of neoconservatives, including Bill Kristol and GOP lobbyists, also sponsored No Kings to the tune of $1 million. I mean, I guess that buttresses what we're saying about it being less threatening than, say, like anti-Zionism, but this is not.
So what for what? Where did that money go to? Did it go to pay out people to turn out, or was it for like them trying to capture the energy?
Yeah.
And push it towards it? Like,
I don't know. That doesn't seem to me to be a significant problem.
I mean, it's like people talk about Soros money, and like the problem isn't like the Open Society Foundation, which I think frankly has done a lot of good work, or Data in Society, which is, Soros shouldn't have that much money to play around with. We should claim it back through taxation. But just drawing those parallels is not that interesting, because like a lot of these types of groups are playing politics still. And, I don't think I would bet on, and I know it's scary right now, but Trump establishing a Fourth Reich of like permanent power that keeps like liberals out of it. I think you probably want to hedge your bets a little bit.
Yep. And for every Soros, like the reason they focus on Soros is because there's like the number
he does some
of
good things.
He's like one anti-Semitism, but also they have very few to choose from. Right. like there are hundreds of George Soroses on the Republican side.
Yeah, Harlan Crow, Peter Thiel,
yes,
Koch
the Koch brothers. They actually really, now that you say Koch brothers, the Koch brothers in the Obama era were what for liberals and anybody who wasn't a conservative were what like Soros is talked about now by them. The right, because liberalism is incapable of meeting this moment, they have been so easily able to capture like left-wing or liberal talking points and flip them on their heads to their own benefit, even in the face of facts. The way that they talk about how the left are the true fascists is also, or the left is the one that wants to curb free speech. And we see exactly what they're doing. This is the most hostile administration in, I don't know, the last many decades on the issue of free speech and free expression.
Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.